Good evening, everybody. It's your girl, Coach T, and welcome to tonight's Talking Hoops. What a great introduction. Joined with me tonight, we have Coach Mac and the Mr. Ron Briscoe. I wish everybody could have just saw. Coach Mac honestly distracted me right before we started. As the banner going up for the champions, the Las Vegas Aces, she did a little dance.
Yes.
Coach Mack is excited about her ladies winning the championship, and we will see how this season goes as more WNBA talks will come later in the show. But tonight's special show, we have a very special guest joining us tonight, coming on and talking hoops to come give us some information, talk hoops with us, and give us his experiences. And our special guest is one of the best players to come out of Ole Miss. Okay, he is a part of the All Century team at Ole Miss. Do you know how hard it is to join an All Century team for a college of that stature of Ole Miss? He led his team in the senior year to their first Sweet 16 appearance. He was an All American and a former member of the original G League team, the first team that won a championship for the league. Welcome, Rahim Lockhart. And
Hello,
Rahim,
hello.
thank you so much for joining us tonight, taking the time out to come on the show. We are excited to have you doing our research on you. I mean, I had so much fun and learned a lot going to go research. You know, when they say you're that guy, your resume shows you're really that guy. And we're grateful to have you come join us on the show. Right now, you're currently coaching as an assistant at Ole Miss, and I wanted to just get a little insight on how does it feel to be one of their greatest players and be able to come back and coach the team of a school that you dominated at.
Well, it's a blessing. It's a blessing. That was a part of my journey that was really fulfilling. Being able to come back home and be a part of something that you built and see what they have taken the program to places that we never were able to take it. They have a beautiful facility now. It's just a beautiful thing to be a part of.
Oh, that is so great to hear. And congratulations. I know you've had a successful career in not only coaching high school but junior college as well. What are some of the differences that you find making that transition from the high school and junior college level to now collegiate level?
Well, it's all about the grind. The grind kind of takes you to the different levels you go to, and you have to have certain characteristics, and certain elements to you that are able to adapt and adjust to the different times and how the game is played and how the game is viewed now.
Absolutely. And speaking of adjustments, we talk about it here all the time on the show. And I know Coach Mack and Ron can definitely speak to it about just the cultural changes in basketball and college basketball. One of the biggest being NIL deals and a way for these kids now to be young adults and make significant amount of money. So those cultural differences I know have probably been a big adjustment for you. How do you find the competition level? And I just have to ask you as a competitor, when you see the team now, do you say, oh, I would run these young guys into the floor if this was old style? Do you feel like the competition is a little is the level of play any different? Or how do you find and rate the level of play right now?
I really it's an ambiguous place for me because I recognize it's an impossibility for me to be objective, being the fact that I was a part of that time period what I was in, and I know one of the things that we old people want to do, they want to compare the eras, and I realize these kids are totally different. You know, they went through COVID. They went through a time period where you know life was changing. They didn't understand. They didn't even know what was tomorrow going to be. They didn't even know what today was supposed to do. So I was really focused. So I could tell it's a different in their focus now. So you have to adjust as a mentor, as a coach, and as a leader to recognize it's about them. It's not about you anymore.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That is definitely a significant change. Coach Mack, go ahead.
So, Rahim, let me ask you this question. because I see this a lot where you have a lot of coaches that are talking about this generation. What advice would you give to current coaches now on ways that they can connect to kids? Because a lot of them feel like they can't connect to kids simply because of the way they, or I guess you could say the lack of effort, as you hear a lot what coaches saying, or just the way that they view the game or their quote unquote IQ. What advice can you give to coaches in relations to that?
It's a guy on social media now that he does like these comic little skits he does. He says we're done with the '90s, and the '90s was when I was popping, so I had to really look at it and say, you know what, the '90s are over with. That's true. You're not gonna be able to pull up your old videos and relive
Hmm.
those moments. You might as well either figure out how to live in the moment and prepare for the future, or recognize you're gonna be a fossil.
Mm.
I'm not ready to be a fossil, so I, I say, man, let me get around these young people and try to figure them out. Let me see how they flowing, because it can't be too much different than how I did it in the '90s. They trying. I do believe all of us want to be successful, so I gotta tap into what is success for them. Then I
Hmm.
gotta put some of these old traits and some of these old fundamentals and some of these old principles in them, so they can take it to the next level. Because it's not about my era; it's about
Hmm.
them.
That's good. Ron, did you have a question?
Oh, I thought Coach was going to read the question, but hey, yeah,
No,
I'll
that's
let
all
them.
right. We lost you for a second,
Yeah.
Ron. I didn't know if you were frozen for a second. We lost you for a second, but
Oh,
what's a good show if we don't lose Ron at least once?
oh. Yeah, I have a question for Rahim. Rahim, like you said, transition from the '90s now you into the 2022 area, 2024 era, excuse me. And what have you seen difference from the players that you've been watching from junior college to college now? What have you seen? Have you seen an improvement to when you were playing and to what they're doing now?
They have a lot more distractions.
Hmm.
I feel like when we were coming up, everybody was pretty much geared towards promoting and getting us going in the right direction. It's a lot more distractions now because of the freedoms that they have. And when you're free to choose what it is that you choose that you want to do or what you want to be a part of, the easy choice is always going to be the one you take, and the distractions are always the easy choice.
Mm.
So it's a really it goes back. I know I said about COVID earlier, but I really look at churches haven't been the same since COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Like
That's
people don't,
true.
churches closed.
Hmm.
So a lot of the places and institutions that these kids had learned about being productive citizens and being good people and all those type terms, or learning some work ethic, they have really been put on the back burner. So you left a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
kids to raise themselves. So what do
Mm.
you expect?
Mm.
So it's for those of us that are in these positions, we have to shoulder that burden. It's like this is our uh, civil rights movement. We got to get these kids back locked in because
Mm.
they were let out and they've been doing what they want to do.
Hmm. No, that's a great point. I think it's really a problem that goes way beyond basketball, really. I mean, my sister in law is a teacher, and some of the stories I hear about how many kids can't even read at grade level. I mean, this all plays a factor, into comprehension ability, accountability, responsibility, things that aren't being taught the same way. And so I know I can only imagine how that trickles into basketball and their ability of, like you said, to stay locked in and stay focused and not, be bogged down by distractions. So that is a great point though about having more distractions. I would say social media being a big part of that.
Oh
Huge.
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. These kids they can create their own world on social media, a world that doesn't exist. It's not even tangible. Like they can give themselves their own. They can award themselves. They can elect themselves. They can just name their Instagram account king such and such. I'm like, how do you become a king? Like,
Yeah.
like king of what? So it's like, it's amazing. And and the thing is, all they doing is just imitating what they've seen. Especially with
Mhm.
everybody coming out with their truths now and they revealing themselves to be frauds. These kids realize I can be a fraud and I can get exactly what I want. My
Mm.
daughter,
Mhm.
I go back to COVID because I really feel like that's a subject that no one really wants to talk about, the pandemic and all those things. But man, I remember my daughter was in college and we all had to go home. We couldn't work. And my daughter was making more money in college doing nothing, getting a check every month, just living. And
Man.
I told her, I
Mm.
said, baby, this is a very dangerous moment. Like, she was making like $2,000 or $3,000. I was like, Lord,
Goodness.
she was like, I don't need no money. I said, what in the world? And I hope I'm not telling my daughter she did something. But my point is, these kids they don't have a concept or understanding of making a living because they seen how you can make a living by doing nothing.
Mm.
Very true.
So that's a very slippery slope that we have went through, and I still feel like we're still trying to gain our balance.
Mm. Yes.
Let me ask them this question then. Since you mentioned that, give us your opinion on the NIL and also about the about the one player rule. Coming in playing 1 year and then trying to get a lot of money, then leaving out.
I'm it's a catch 22 for me because I'm always gonna be a player in heart.
Hmm.
I'm always side with the kid. It's the kid in me, the part of me that never wants to get old, never wants to become one of the old people. I understand, these kids got options. And if you
Mm-hmm.
don't teach, if you don't, it, I go back to the Bible. If you don't teach a child the way he should go, he, ain't no telling where he gonna go. And the kids are just showing you, man, we got to do a better job of teaching them certain principles and certain things as far as just keep being a man of your word. Like I don't have a problem with these young people going to make
Ooh,
money.
that part.
Shoot, the institution's making the money, so why shouldn't the kid make no money? But my
Hmm.
problem is it's like giving a crazy person a loaded gun. You know, they getting all this money, getting all these things up front, and not doing much work to do it. And then when these 4 years come up, people are gonna remember what you did when you had money. And they were not making the best decisions because they never had money before.
Hmm.
When you
Hmm.
ain't ever had no money, you get a hundred. I couldn't imagine what I
Mm.
would have done if I would have had $250,000 in my pocket at 18
Mm.
years old.
Mm.
I doubt I would have made it to 28.
It's
Hmm.
and that's a sad story for a lot of people though. I consider myself to be very responsible at that age, but even me, I'm like, wow, if I would have had access to that money,
Nope.
I wasn't responsible.
no frontal lobe not
I,
fully even developed at
I,
this point. You're not
I
even
was I was gonna have a ball. We all gonna have a good time.
You and
We'd have made
all
a
the
lot of
rest of the
memories.
team, huh?
We'd have made a lot of memories. I know.
uh-oh. We may have froze for a little bit. Like I said, what's a good show if we don't lose somebody, huh? So it looks like Rahim is just frozen a little bit, but no, I mean, he brings about a great point that we talk about often on this show, and that is the slippery slope of NIL deals. It is a very slippery slope.
It sure is.
And if I'm a player, I hear, about the one year and leave, make a lot of money, take 1 year and try and leave. But I would be trying to figure out how can I be like a 6 year senior?
You
and,
know,
Yeah.
and listen, how can I get, 2 extra seasons real quick? Because it's really, I mean, some of these kids really have the opportunity to play all 4 years and make probably some of the most money that they'll make. They won't even, some of them wouldn't even make that money 10 years being out of being in a job out of college with their degree in their career field.
Yeah,
yes.
They're
that's true.
making,
I just Are you talking to me? Can y'all
Yes,
hear
we
me?
can
Yes,
hear you.
we got you back.
Okay, okay, okay. Then they say they say we start telling too much truth. The devil don't like that. I might need to be quiet.
So Raheem, I want to talk to you about the G League because I know you got some stuff that you got to run and do. It's graduation time for a lot of us, especially for me too. So speaking of that,
Congrats.
you were a part of the first group. I guess it was like 8 teams that was a part of G League when they first started. Can you tell us kind of
All right.
what that experience was like? I mean, starting from I guess transitioning from college, what was it like getting drafted, quote unquote, or that whole process? What was living like? What was the money like at that point?
You know, it was good for me. Like I was just getting out into the real world, so it was a real good, starting point for having a job for me. So I looked at it as like having a 9 to 5. I was making pretty decent money for a man. With I had semi responsibilities. I wasn't. It's not as heavy as they are now. So it was a good starting point. It was a good starting point in life. But my favorite thing about it was just my ability to live my dream. That was the most important part of it. It wasn't so much fanfare that they have now. Like I see guys in the G League on social media, they got 100,000 followers. They got a lot of stuff going on. Whereas we were just regular people, still
Hmm.
scrapping and chasing us for a dream. So
Mhm.
it wasn't as fanciful as it is now.
Hmm.
So speaking of that, one of the hot topic right now is Bronny James, and Woj from
Ah,
ESPN thinks that he can definitely help bring some extremely good revenue to the G League if he was to play. Do you think Bronny James should stay another year in college, or would G League actually be a good fit for him?
Bronny James is a G League player. Uh, he's he's already. We already know. It's not. It's almost like we want to pretend like we don't know who he is and what he is.
Right.
He is a brand. You know, you do know whose son that is, right? I
Right.
made the comparison. I made the comparison to Bronny James to Luke Walton when I was in
Okay.
school. Luke Walton, and no disrespect to Luke, Luke Walton was not one of those kind of guys. He
Hmm.
was a decent player, and we all knew and we respected Luke that he was a decent player. He wasn't one of them guys that you were afraid of when you went to go play against him. He was just a decent guy, and you knew why he was there. He was Luke Walton's son.
Hmm.
So he was good enough to get to play on the team and not hurt you, but he wasn't a person that you knew that was one of those kind of guys. He's never been that person. He was a decent player that had a connection, and what's there to talk about? It's not a big deal. We all have that kid when we play pickup that's gonna come with the best player. He gonna play every game. If he don't play, the best player gonna leave, and we ain't gonna play no more. So that's no difference between Bronny James. And I don't understand what's the big deal about just telling the truth about him. The kid is a superb athlete. First of all, I heard he got like a 40-something inch vertical, and
Hmm.
I played ball and have a 40-inch vertical is not average.
At
That's a
Mhm.
6'1",
200.
too.
Right.
That means
He's
you
six
can
one.
fly.
Yeah.
Like he can, and that means you can fly.
Yep.
So you gotta watch your head. He may dunk on you anytime, but man, it's like let's not pretend like it's a problem. It's not a problem. His daddy has done a great job to put him in position to reach his goals. Now he's not gonna be his daddy, but what son is their daddy? I don't know
Hmm.
one.
Mhm.
No, I that's a great point. That's a great point. I agree with you. I I think Bronny makes a great role player on a good team. I mean, he's really reminds me of a traditional point guard that's super athletic that we don't really see traditional point guards anymore. We're used to point guards that can get a bucket. We used to Brunson and Damian Lillard, and we've gotten used to the Steph Currys, and we've gotten used to that type of point guard. But that Steve Nash type of point guard where they can score, they can get a bucket, but they're really looking to facilitate, to set their team up, a Jason Terry, those type of point guards, shooting guards don't really exist anymore. If you a point guard, you need to average 30 in the NBA to be considered a good point guard at this point, you know. But I definitely think on a good team, he makes a great traditional point guard that has the ability to score. Like you said, don't get caught sleeping under the basket because he has the athletic ability to be able to go finish around the rim. So it'll be interesting to see, but it's hard to say nepotism isn't involved in it. But he's still very, very young, very, very young, and has the ability still to really turn into a great player. That's how I feel.
I don't understand. Nepotism has been existed in this world from the very beginning. So
Hmm.
why
Absolutely.
is it why is it a problem now? I don't
Listen, I'm
understand
not
why it's a
saying it's
discussion.
listen, I'm not saying it's a
I'm I, I,
problem. Listen, because if
no,
I'm LeBron, my son coming to play.
period. Like he, and the thing is, I've been talking about this topic on Facebook for the last probably 2 weeks. And I'm talking about I just can't believe people are making an issue about is he good enough? What are we talking about? Yeah, he good enough. He can play, can't he? Everybody in the NBA is not Kobe good. No,
Yeah,
everybody is not them kind of guys. It's some players that got there because they just were in the right spot at the right time. They don't want to talk about they don't want to talk about the blatant cheating that's happened. No one was talking about. I remember when I was coming out, it was a it was a particular uh, uh, agent that had some deals worked out with general managers. If you draft my player, I give you a cutback of his deal.
that's
See,
right.
those things have been happening for a very long time. So what's the difference between Bronny and those kind of guys? Bronny better than them? I played against them. Them guys were trash. Come on now.
Hey, Ryan, let's go back since you mentioned it. Me and you, we go way back. With my scouting service and being able to watch you play, kind of give the listeners like an idea of some of the top players that you played against in high school because you played against some phenomenal guys back in the day, and just kind of give them a look at the landscape of the guys that you played against until the guys that are here today.
When I went to ABCD, the All American camp, and I was one of the last guys selected to get in the camp because I was from Mississippi. I really I didn't play AAU ball the year prior, so I was a no name as far as national. So I had to go to other smaller. I had to go to play AAU with a guy named Mitch Malone from
Mm-hmm.
Texas Blue Chip, and that's how I
Dallas.
got to go to ABCD. Oh yeah, Dallas. I came from Mississippi to Dallas. I went down there and I got a hold of me some people. I did my thing, and I got a chance to go to ABCD in New Jersey. And I was one of the last. I was probably the second to last person to get into the camp. The last person to get in the camp was Tracy McGrady, and
Right.
Tracy and I were we were roommates in the hotel. And Tracy, when he blew up, I was watching. I saw a difference in how you treat it when they know you're gonna be a first round and when you're gonna be a Division I player. Man, Tracy got brand new shoes every night. I'm talking about he just lived the life. So so my point is, but Tracy got hooked up with Sonny Vaccaro and all those type things happened. So I came from an era where the younger guys was just not starting to get a chance to show their talent, and they were looking for those young guys. They were looking for those exceptional guys. So a guy like Bronny, he not Tracy McGrady, but he way better than some of them other guys.
I do agree. I do agree. Now, Rahim, we had a comment come in from a viewer and they suggested that you sound like a Kobe fan. So we just want to confirm for our viewers, are you in fact a Kobe fan?
No, I'm talking about one of my biggest regrets is that I spent way too much time hating on Kobe. Like,
Mm.
no, like this, like real talk. Like I really can almost tear up. Like what a fool I was not to appreciate Kobe while he was doing his thing. Like because I was more of a Tracy McGrady guy. Tracy was the one I saw that was
Mm-hmm.
head and shoulders above me, so I was big on Tracy. But I'm not a Kobe fan. I respect Kobe and his legacy. I believe Kobe's probably top five to ever do it. But I'm a LeBron James guy. I know
Okay, talk to me
when I
nice.
saw LeBron when I saw LeBron the first time I saw, I said, "Oh, he the best player to ever play basketball." Cause he was big as me, but he was
Yeah.
way faster. I'm like, this greatest man. He can guard anybody. Who gonna stop him?
Now we had Mama Davis joined, one of our faithful listeners and viewers, and she said for you to choose your words wisely,
Uh-oh.
talking about Kobe Bryant.
Now
Now,
this is star of the show now, Ryan. Watch out.
I gotta give you some
They say,
background. This that is my mom, and we are
oh,
diehard Lakers fans. Okay,
He said, "Ooh."
we are. She gets her own intro music. We are diehards, and
hey,
so listen. I grew up on Kobe. The very first jersey I ever wore was number 8. For that reason, I even named my dog Kobe. Okay, we were diehards, but I do have to agree with you about LeBron. Did you hear that, Ron and Coach Mac? What he said about LeBron James?
I know.
Uh-oh, Ron, you kind of breaking up. Did we lose Ron? We might have lost Ron.
Yes.
That's
So
okay.
I got another G League question to ask you until Ron gets back. So the team that you played for, which was Greenville Groove, is that correct? In South Carolina or
yes.
South Carolina? Okay. So so you guys were the champions for that first year, and the team only lasted for 2 years. What caused the downfall? Since you guys
Hmm.
had a really, really good team.
That's a
Well,
good question.
you know, the G League. It was never. Well, it was the D League when I was coming up. It was
Right.
never set up to be like like big franchises. It was set
Okay.
up kind of like a minor league baseball. Like in Mississippi, we have
Yeah,
like a
Braves.
Braves. We have the Braves affiliate, and they were trying to get the G League to get affiliates. So that was the whole base of it. But the initial was like the starter program to get this thing started, to see
Okay.
how they would how they could market in small markets. How could they make the teams become a part of the culture in small markets? So we did a lot of uh, community service, a lot of those things. So we actually became part of like Greenville. Like I still have good friends from Greenville that I met while I was out there. But
Nice.
the thing I liked about the G League was it gave guys that time to see how they were going to adjust to the professional life from being
Hmm.
an amateur.
Hmm.
So it was kind of like how NIL is now. That's what the
Hmm.
G League was. And but now I really don't follow the G League probably as much as I would like to because I kind of lost that. It never did gain that affiliation, like what team is affiliated with what. So I
Hmm.
never did kind of understand what they were doing with that. So I think they need to get probably. I feel like if they got back to that mission of the G League becoming having affiliate teams and getting markets that become a part of that team, I think it'd be a lot more followable.
So, well, obviously they know that I have become like this G League fan lately. One of one of the
The
markets,
G
one
League
league,
guru.
like seriously, I literally go to the games now here in Dallas. But Phoenix is actually getting their G League team back, so they went away with it, and now they're coming back. I think as of next year. But with that being said, I know I mentioned to you like over 50% of NBA players come from the G League, which is like mind boggling to me. But considering the pay, so the average, let's say, G League player that's not on a two-way contract makes about $40,500 per season. So if it's over 50% that's actually in the NBA, like why do you think they are just so undervalued if they're if half of the NBA consists of G League players. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Uh-oh. We can't hear you, Rahim.
You Rahim.
Did he freeze up like me?
No, the sound just went out.
Oh,
And listen, again, what is a great talking hoop show without a few technical difficulties? Okay, listen, it happens to the best of us.
I know
Yes.
we had a couple of tornadoes here a couple of days ago, so they've been having a lot of lines down and trying to get them up. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And if not, we know we're coming up on 30 minutes. And as we know, a lot going on, a lot to do. As you said, graduation season on the horizon. But Coach Matt, great question about the value of the G League and the players. And going forward, what is that going to look like, especially after Memphis? You know, you see the Memphis team. I mean, that should be uh, something that needs to be looked into after the season that they had and the amount of G League players that basically finished their roster. The active roster was majority G League players.
Mm-hmm.
mhm.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can
Yes.
hear you.
Okay. And what was
Yeah,
you
so I
asking?
was stating that over 50% of players in the NBA come from the G League, knowing that the average salary per season is $40,500, which is extremely low play. And that's not for those that are on a two-way contract. For those that are on a two-way contract, obviously make more. So, with knowing that, what are your thoughts on G League players being undervalued since they basically consist of over half of the NBA?
That's one of those that's a touchy world subject for me because people don't value like the everyday worker. And the thing is, the worker has to bring value to the job. So
Mhm.
I disagree with they're undervalued. First of all, you playing a sport that you love and you're getting paid for it. You could be working at Walmart. I'm a New York Knicks fan. I remember John Starks was sacking groceries, and then he got his big chance to play for the Knicks. So to me, if you're in the G League and you're doing the thing that you love to do by working on your craft, you really it's a blessing. You know,
Mhm.
because there's no to me. I think sometimes basketball players and athletes overvalue their worth to the world. You know, we all we doing is playing a game. That's what we're
Mhm.
doing. This is a game we're playing, and I know plenty of people that love this game that will play it for free. I put like every G League
Yes.
player, he would be that guy in your hometown that plays basketball 24/7. We all have those guys that couldn't put the ball down after high school. They just kept playing. They'd be at the park playing. Those are the G League players, and they just better than those type of guys. But that's in essence of what the G League was. The guys that love the game, and those teams that may have players that they need to develop a little bit more, they get a part of the G League and they try to monetize that from that standpoint. The G League was basically a deal where they were trying to get all the money that was left on the table out of the
Mm,
Mhm.
game.
okay.
So I I like the I like the fact. To me, it makes me feel like it should make a guy that loves the game hungry to get to the NBA from
Yeah.
G League. You're supposed to be playing hard. Like you're
Mhm.
supposed to be that guy that come to practice and you diving on the floor during practice
Mm-hmm.
to make the product better. Because one of the things I feel like all of us as basketball fans could admit to that the product of the game of basketball overall has went down because of these. Everybody thinks they supposed to uh, stress load manage time. Like they don't supposed to come play every night. Nah, I come from a time period, man. You supposed to go play. What are you
Mhm.
talking about? You playing again? It ain't like you talking about you finna go sit at a desk and file papers, man. You supposed to be playing the game. How you talking about you? Come on now, that's what you get paid for.
I totally agree.
I don't. I'm a country boy from Mississippi, so I look at man. I was on the farm, so you would much rather be shooting layups than picking peas in the summertime.
As they
No,
say, preach, Ryan, preach.
right, right. And just speaking to G League and value, we had a couple comments come in that that attributed that potentially the G League isn't getting enough promotion and exposure the same way. I would say now more than ever, you're starting to see G League kind of get some more advertisement and some more promotions out there. But I think it kind of circles back into what you said about the product and what's the product that's being put out there. Nobody wants
Oh,
to pay to go see high school level basketball being played, or people not out there playing hard, or like you said, stress and load management, and not having a good quality product putting out there every night.
all right, that's because they don't have any more. They don't put value in their own work, and I feel like the G League can create that lane. That man, you got a value. We can send you back home
Yeah.
and let you do that. Whatever you were doing before you were doing this, you can go do that. Go work at the plant. So that's the thing. Like, come on, guys, this is what you love to do. Do it with love. Don't play
Mhm.
around with it. You can eat. I'm sitting out. I just left and saw a couple of my former players that I have coached over the years getting off work. So that's the thing that I feel like the G League provided me. If I wouldn't have had the G League, I'd have been at work
Right.
Hmm.
at a real job. And I hate to say like basketball is a real job, but come on, that's not a real job. It become a real. This is a game that you did when you were 5 years old.
Yeah, this is a
Come on now,
passion, right?
yeah, like come on, man. We ain't nobody finna beg you to play basketball. This is basketball.
Talking about
Go
basketball.
home. we talking about basketball, man. Come on now. You ain't
Hey,
gotta come
Ryan, let
outside if
me
you don't want to play.
let me ask you this. Coach Rob Barnes, I talked to him about maybe 4 or 5 days ago, and of course, he was your head coach, and he's probably your mentor too, because I call him my hero. But tell me what Coach Bond helped you out with when you played for him.
Coach Barnes is a real religious man.
Right.
Real religious. He became more of my conscience. He became that person in my ear. Raheem, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't do that, Raheem. He became that person. I had my own agenda, so I needed that type of influence, especially at that age of my life. So he was good for me in as far as kind of keeping me in the role. I was all over the place.
Oh yeah. Well, that is good. That is good. We always need a coach like that because the impact can last a lifetime. But as we are coming up with 20 minutes left in the show, we are going to start jumping over to some NBA, WNBA happenings. Rahim, we want to thank you so much for coming on the show. Any words of advice that you want to leave for our listeners, or these young basketball players, current basketball players, any words of advice or any last message you would like to leave here with Talking Hoops?
Don't forget what you're doing for. You got to always remember your why. Why did you play the game? Why is it? Were you getting paid when you were a kid? And if that's what it was, then you were ahead of the game. But I wasn't getting paid to play ball. I did it because I love to play. I wanted to be the best. I wanted to be the gym. Everybody know who Rahim Lockhart was. I didn't do it just to make the team. I didn't do it because of any of the fringe benefits. Now, as I got older, the fringe benefits did start to matter. But you don't start and get the passion that is going to take you throughout your career because of the benefits of basketball. You do it because that's what you do. This is what I do.
Okay, yes, speak to them. Say a little louder for the people in
Well
the back
said.
that
Well
couldn't
said.
hear. Because listen, why are you out there? And if you have no pride while you're out there, go on hang them shoes up.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on Talking Hoops. It has been a pleasure having you. We hope we can see you again in the future as you come join us again and come talk some basketball talk with us.
anytime, anytime. I would love to do it.
Thanks a
I
lot,
love
Raheem,
talking to
man.
people.
Good seeing you
It's one thing
again.
I do know. All right, bro.
Bye.
And just again, some great points highlighted by Rahim. We know, like Ron said, that stress and load management. Huh. Remember, why are you out there? You could be
That's
doing a
right.
9 to 5. Is it a 9 to 5 for you, or is it a passion and something that you love to go and enjoy doing? Because, truth be told, if we as a society didn't enjoy being entertained so much, you would be out there hooping for free.
That's right.
So, what is your real driving force? And so, and I think, and not because I'm biased, but I've seen KD give LeBron James his credit in that aspect of, he loves the game. And it's just so much more than just a job to him and entertainment. And he having that passion for 21 seasons, is something that KD said is just impressive. And it is. But jumping into some NBA topics and some WNBA, because we have officially started the season off for the ladies.
Yes.
Coach Max Aces walked away with a win.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the world's favorite right now, Caitlin Clark, came away with a loss, but had 20 points. That was followed by 10 turnovers, something that, as you could imagine, of course, is being highlighted everywhere over the socials and basketball talk. I wanted to dive in on, what do you guys think?
Man, so when I watched her play, you can tell that she was frustrated that first half. And the only thing I could think about was when Kelsey Plum was talking about how all players go through that phase, or that
Mhm.
transition, like it's gonna be tough. And so just seeing how Aaliyah Boston was there to support her going into the half, or actually halftime, encouraging her, being there for her, I thought was a beautiful thing. Um, but one thing I do like about Caitlin, that she's not a prideful person, in that she accepts what she does, whether it's, good or bad, and she's willing to learn from it. And so she came back the second half, had a great second half. Obviously, she finished with 20 points, but then there was that 10 turnover. So now
Mhm.
she's saying, she's got to figure some things out, which is great. That's what you call an elite player, when they have to figure a way out to get back to the elite status that she is. But I think she's going to be fine. I mean, consider this was her debut game and she still walked out with 20 points. I mean, and
Hey,
not many
20
players
is
can do that.
20. Yeah.
20, and
Yeah.
a struggling night at that. So
Yeah, she shot 5 for 15.
5 for 15. So I think she'll be fine. It's just she's just going through that transitioning period, but I think she's gonna figure it out quick. Unfortunately, you got a lot of people already trying to put her in the same status as Candace Parker, being rookie of the year, player of the year, and all the above. I just hope people stop the comparison and just let her be. Just let her
Mhm.
be and let her play her game, and just let Caitlin Clark do what she does.
Mhm. Yeah, Caitlin did. She was nervous. You could tell. I mean, hey, welcome to the WNBA. You're playing out there with pros. You're not in college anymore, and it just takes a little time. It's a learning period, a learning curve for her to learn how to play the game. She's with some brand new teammates,
Mhm.
and she was 4 for 11 from 3 point line as well. But look, 20 points is 20 points, like you said. Another thing she's going to have to learn how to do is play defense better.
Yeah.
A
Vince,
lot
We
he
of
said,
a
said
lot,
that. We
Vince
said
said
that
that.
was her red flag. That was it.
right. Mhm. So a lot of those cuts that cut right in front of her, she just watched them go by, and they was laying it up. So, and she had some back doors on her as well, from what I
Man,
saw.
getting burnt
But
up.
they have learned how to double team her and push her to her right, so she doesn't get in that rhythm. And
Mm-hmm.
she's gonna have to learn how to go ahead and come up with something different as far as setting herself up to go to the right to score, or just, she's right-handed, just go straight to the basket and lay it up off the glass like she did a couple of times. But hey, I think she's gonna be all right once she learns uh, how to play the game and what the game is all about. And she just know that she's a fish in a big bowl out there now, and she just got night in and night out. There's going to be some really good players coming at her all the time, and not some so-called players coming at her all the time like she met in college.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you think about the competition level, you're taking the some of the best players from the top colleges that are now in the league, and because there's not as many teams as like the NBA, it's the talent is more concentrated. It's more concentrated talent because it's so many good players out there, but you only have a roster of about 13, 12 or 13 spots. So even we've saw in these past couple weeks since the draft, out of I think it was maybe out of 36 women drafted, only 12 of them are still in the league right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So that made a final roster. So just knowing that yeah, like you said, Ron, you're a fish in a bigger pond, but also from the coach's perspective, she is not a point guard. And because she was able to run point in college, doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to transfer over to the WNBA. And if I'm the coach and I have Caitlin Clark on my team, I don't even want her to have to worry about handling the ball. I just need you to be ready to catch and shoot and get me a bucket. You don't even, hey, Ron, you don't even need to guard the best player. Okay. I need you to guard somebody that you can handle and contain. Be able to guard your yard. That's all I need.
yeah.
And when
And
that
that's the
ball
thing.
come
That's the
on the
thing.
offensive side,
Mhm.
be ready to go.
And that's the thing that her coaches don't have to figure out because they hadn't figured that out yet. That she doesn't need to have the ball in her hands. She just needs to, like you said, spot up, be ready to shoot it, come off some picks, and be that deadly bucket getter that we need.
That's it, Ron. That's it. We don't need anything besides that. And we had a comment come through the Penguin AZ about Caitlin Clark. I didn't, it popped away before I could fully read it, but a new player to the locker room and practice is very intimidating, especially with all women. Men, it's whatever, but I'm sure Caitlin didn't get all good looks from her teammates. And no, and that's another thing. Indiana, they're still growing their team. They are still growing their team. The Penguin AZ went to junior high with Diana Taurasi.
Woo, my
Okay,
girl BT.
okay,
Baby.
you know a baller. Okay, you know a baller, but I will say though that Caitlin, she is probably the best, if not her and Aaliyah Boston, of two of the best players on the Fever. The Fever are still rebuilding. They are still looking to develop a stronger team. So I expect 10 turnovers. I can't blame her for all 10. Because as a team, you got to be able to catch too.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
You-
she threw some good passes and they missed them. So hey, and she threw some passes that they wasn't ready for. So like I said, it's a learning experience. They're gonna learn how to gel together.
Absolutely, it's going to be some time, but Las Vegas Aces coming away with the win. First game of the season.
Woo.
What
Yes,
that big girl did last night, my
yes,
goodness.
yes, yes, yes. But let me back up to Diana Taurasi because y'all know I'm a UConn fan, and that was
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that was my first love in UConn basketball in that sense. Definitely not the other way. But Diana Taurasi was my girl when she was at UConn. Diana is what, 40, 41 years old?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And had
Still
what,
giving
20?
buckets? Like, oh, nobody's out there? Yeah, that's Diana Taurasi, and she's still giving buckets. So shout out to Diana for her performance last night.
Let me tell you, 7 of 11 from the 3-point line.
Seven,
She played well.
7, easy money. Like, we just out here playing rake ball, easy
Yeah.
money. Okay, so
She's out there
And
like LeBron James.
oh yeah, and shout out to Dewana Bonner as well, who was also
oh yes,
up there with close to Diana Taurasi. She is a few years younger,
yep.
but
Mhm.
Dewana Bonner definitely a vet in this league, and she had 20.
Just became the 5th leading scorer of all time. Diana being
Right.
first, and Dewana just became 5th.
Wow, what a huge accomplishment. Shout out to Dewana Bonner. And, I gave her praise last summer in the playoffs with her performance. And they had a struggling team, and she was
Mhm.
still out there getting buckets. And so the Penguin AC said Tarasi is the Kobe of WNBA.
They call her the White Mamba. That's her name, White Mamba.
And a
Hey,
true
hey,
killer
Bonham
in,
reminds me of
Katie.
Luca by the way she plays.
huh? Okay, and speaking of Luca, because you just led me run right to the next point.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of Luca, what about that comeback
Ooh,
from OKC? Let me
ooh,
tell you, I had to find out, and I think we may have lost Ron as he froze a little bit, but I had to find out the next day that OKC ended up winning because I ended up falling asleep. Like, oh, this game is over. I fell asleep, and Mr. Johnson was trying to wake me up. He was trying, and I was done. The next day, I find out. I said, "You
mm,
didn't tell me OKC won."
mm.
I said, "Ah."
We
T-
missed the free throw.
Coach Mac, what happened? What happened? I mean, they were up by so much.
Yeah.
And is this going to be a problem? Is this going to be what prevents the Mavericks from getting over that hump?
I hope not. We have been in such a good rhythm, but after Luca was missed that one free throw that could have at least tied the game, that's what really like just killed everything. But I don't know. I'm still pulling for the Mavs. I think we can still do it. It's gonna be tough, especially now that OKC got their momentum going. So I don't know. This is kind of hard. This one's tough for me.
Ron, we were talking
It's
about the
been
comeback.
yeah, it's been a good series. I got to give it to you, Coach Johnson. You was right. It's going to probably go down to 7. But hey, man, haven't we seen some exciting basketball from both teams?
Yes.
You know, SGA has been laying down the law. He's been disappointing in himself because he couldn't get that big win when he shot that 3-pointer, didn't go in. But hey, man, they came back and he did it up on the Mavs. But look, the Mavs has really surprised me, man. PJ Washington has been doing his thing.
Yes.
Man, I really like him, man. Derrick Jones doing his thing. And of course, Tyreek, he kind of took a little bit off. He hadn't been scoring like he usually has in the past, but Luca has been there just holding it together. So the Mavs, the
Literally.
OKC, man, there's a
Yes.
thunderstorm coming, baby.
Messed up leg, like
Yes, he is playing with the knee injury right now.
barely holding on down there.
And he's still out there getting a triple double is dangerous. Now, jumping to triple doubles, my gosh, the Denver Nuggets, they
Woo!
have won 3 straight. And right now they are out there looking like a well-oiled machine. I watching them, they remind me of a new version of the Golden State Warriors. And I remember thinking that when the Warriors, what made them so effective during their championship run, is that they played a style of basketball that we hadn't seen in a long time, and that was team ball. That is,
Mhm.
they're moving. It's not a two-man game, a heavily focused point guard, big man game. I mean, everybody out there can take the shot. Everybody has the green light to take the shot. Everyone is cutting. They're not afraid to give the ball up. They're looking to move the ball and make 5 passes before a shot. And that was what made them, in my opinion, unstoppable during those seasons because it was like people got hit with a shock of a style of play that we haven't seen. Like we haven't seen college level almost style of play, and it was effective. And watching Denver, they give me the new and improved version. I'm talking about that high on ball screen for Jamal Murray coming downhill is one of the most dangerous plays right now in the playoff series for any team that we've been watching. I mean, that is almost unstoppable. Jokic setting the high on ball and Jamal Murray coming downhill with Michael Porter Jr. on one side and KCP on the other side, ready to catch and pull. I mean, do we see Minnesota not winning another game?
Mm.
I don't know. I think the Ant got his wings clipped this last game. But you mentioned the MVP, Jokic, 40. He give you 40, and he's just been dominating. Like you said, they kind of figured it out. Murray's coming off the screen. His calf is a lot better, as you can see, and he's doing it. KCP is finally making some shots. And I tell you what, Michael Porter, I thought he would be more dominant in this game, but let's look at the trade. The guy who was at Orlando that got traded, and he's been playing really, really well too, hitting some big shots. So the Denver Nuggets, they may just go ahead and wrap this series up.
It looks
But
that way.
you know,
I mean,
maybe
three in a row. Hey, they've won the last three consecutive games. But I can't count out the Timberwolves because when they're clicking on all cylinders, they play a really high level of basketball. So I can't count them out completely. I do think this one's going to come down to the wire. I can see it being a game 7, but we'll see if the Nuggets are able to close out. We'll see if they're able to close out. We have what is it, game 6? I
yeah,
believe tomorrow.
yeah,
Game 6 tomorrow. Now, really quick, I really want to touch on as we are approaching the end of the show. I did want to touch on circling back to the New York Knicks and Jalen Brunson, as we have go do your dance, as we've watched him lead the Knicks with injuries, players down, Josh Hart playing 48 minutes, Jalen Brunson playing over 40. I mean, still, they are finding a way to win games. I just wanted to circle back to a comment that was made by Candace Parker when she said that he wouldn't be able to lead his team to a championship because of his height. No
yeah.
point guard is that size. He's too small. Point guards that size cannot lead a team to a championship as being the primary player.
Becky Hammond.
Becky Hammond said that.
Yes, Becky Hammond was the one that said that.
Okay,
Mhm.
Becky Hammond, excuse me, Becky Hammond and not CP. Now, coming from Becky Hammond, very interesting. But how do we think that comment has aged, and what is our stance with that?
Ooh, I thought about that, especially watching her perform every night. I'm proud that he's proven her wrong because, I mean, who's to say what someone can't do? Just like who's to say, nobody can be in any given night. It's fair game to anyone, regardless of the size. But Jalen Brunson has definitely proven that he's that guy. And watching the trio, Demon Jizo, Josh Hart, and Jalen, man, to see the three teammates, the Nova boys,
The
it has
Nova
been
Boys.
awesome to watch them play. I really look forward to watching them play every night. It's tough basketball, but when I tell you they get down to the nitty gritty, to the grind, to the very end, I mean, the Knicks definitely is the team to watch.
Mm.
Yes, ma'am. You said it. And like you said, they play like they out there eating glass and messing with nails out there on that basketball court. And you're right about the trio from Nova. They know how to play the game of basketball, hard nose. Hey, when you have a guy that's got a heart as big as Jalen Bronson, and here's a guy that was a second round pick,
Mm-hmm.
okay? Played for the Dallas Mavericks, got traded, and now he's making a way out of no way, and he's making people believe in him and say, "Hey, y'all didn't think I could do it, huh? Look at me now, 40. I'm a 40 pointer almost every game, and look, nobody can stop me with this old left hand I got, and I'm only 6'1", but
Mm-hmm.
he's getting it done not only on the offensive end but on the defensive end, and now he is the guy that everyone's talking about, and I can't wait to see if the Knicks win it all, them with the Boston Celtics, because I think Boston won tonight against Cleveland.
Oh yeah, and that's a fork in it. That's a fork in it. Now, before we go, and also shout out to everybody that's tuned in, that left a comment tonight, engaged with us. We appreciate it. We got quite a few comments coming in saying how they enjoyed the show and that it was a great show, and they'll be coming back. So we just want to shout you out and say thank you all so much for tuning in weekly. We definitely appreciate it. But before we go, predictions. And we always got to end the show with a little prediction, especially now that we've seen some games change and so forth. All I have to say, and I'll go ahead and start off first since I'm about to cause some controversy potentially, is that no team on the East is about to beat a team on the West.
Oh, here
So
she go. Here she go with
not a
that.
single team coming out the East is going to be a West Coast team. None of them. And let me just throw that out there. Let me tell you, Boston Celtics can make it all the way to the championship game, but no team right now that's playing for the West Coast is going to come up short against any of the East Coast teams that's coming to represent. So just know my pick for tonight is the West Coast, and that's what I'm going with for the championship. We'll get into the nitty gritties next week, or excuse me, in 2 weeks when we come back. But
No, in 3 weeks, huh?
3 weeks, in 3 weeks we'll have us a champion, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna be late, but
We'll
that's
have a
all.
champion. That's okay. Just know I'm saying it now since we won't be back for another 3 weeks that we will have us a West Coast winner that we will be talking about.
Oh, here we go. I don't know what's in that water you've been drinking up in St. Louis, but you need to stop.
It's not St. Louis, Ron. I might cheer for the East Coast to being in St. Louis, but
No,
I'm a
that's the gateway to the West now, St. Louis. The gateway to the West.
true indeed. True indeed, as I am truly a West Coast girl and I'm riding with the West. Coach Mac,
Go ahead,
prediction?
Coach Mac. Go ahead, Coach Mac. Give your
Ooh.
prediction.
Ah, the way Denver is going, it seemed like it might be Denver. Unfortunately, I gotta go. The Knicks, it's gonna be tough.
It's gonna be
It's gonna
tough.
be tough. It's gonna be tough. I hope they get it, but it's gonna be tough.
Okay. Wow. You got Denver?
Yeah, I got
Okay.
Denver.
Okay. I'm sticking with Boston.
Okay, Ron.
That's why I
Okay.
started off with. I'm gonna stick with them. Hey, I'm not gonna give up on my Celtics.
Okay, hey, Ron, ride it out.
Yeah,
Right,
because y'all done
hey.
changed twice now. Y'all had Oklahoma, then y'all had Minnesota. Now y'all got Denver. Okay,
No,
I'm
hold
gonna.
on, Ron. I didn't say Denver. Coach Mac got
Oh,
Denver.
you said somebody from the West? Denver's from
I
the
said
West.
the entire West Coast, Ron. It don't matter who come out. It could be
No, you.
Dallas. It could
Oh,
be
okay.
Minnesota. It could be
Oh,
Denver.
so you gonna be like that? You gonna have
Okay,
just
see,
options?
Ron,
Huh? You gonna have options. Whoever gets there and win it, you will.
just know the championship trophy will not go to any team coming out the East.
Okay.
The talent on the West Coast is too much, Ron. It's too
Oh,
much.
okay. West Coast.
It's too much. It's too much. And so when we come back in 3 weeks, though, we'll see who's dancing and who's having the parade and who'll be going fishing. We will definitely see pull the broom out. Pull the broom
Well,
out because it might be a sweep.
that's right.
It
Well, I'm
it
gonna be
might be a
watching some. I'm
sweep.
gonna be watching some playoffs and some WNBA.
Yes, yes, please. And we'll definitely be back in 3 weeks with all of the updates and I'm sure a lot more topics to discuss. But again, thank you all so much for tuning in tonight with Talking Hoops. What a great show. And thank you so much to Rahim Lockhart for joining us tonight and giving us his great insight. It was great to have you, and we look forward to having you again soon. And you all are tuned in at Talking Hoops on BroadStreetSouth.com, where you can catch us live. You can catch us live on Facebook and LinkedIn. Also, you can go to the website, download the app, and you can watch us from the palm of your hand. So the options are unlimited on multiple ways you can catch us here with Talking Hoops. And that'll be all for us. We will see you all in 3 weeks.
See
Have a
y'all
great
later.
Memorial Day weekend, and we'll see you all soon.